thanks so much for letting us know. I am going to mute myself and I'm going to pass over to Sam. Sam, would you like to take control of the presentation and start us off this afternoon?
Will do, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. I'm just going to turn my camera off because you don't want to see my face close up to the screen as we're going through the presentation, but I'll put it back on after I've finished. Okay, let's put it on the video. Okay, so hi everyone, good afternoon. My name.
I didn't expect that for an hour. Just talking.
Oh, Sam, I think you're on mute.
She does generally.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Sorry, go again.
I'll start again. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam Marcus. I'm the Director of Services for
Oh. Somehow
Sam, you've gone again.
Why is that happening?
I don't know.
Not
Somebody
sure.
else clicking mute on you.
I wonder if I...
Should be okay. Just go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we do. So we are a registered youth organisation that's been in existence since around 2001. We deliver our programmes predominantly across the Northwest and Greater London. We have some delivery of programmes in the West Midlands in Walsall, but that work's delivered through the NHS. As a charity, we support the most vulnerable and at-risk young people to improve their well-being so they can thrive and reach their full potential. And our charity objectives are to foster and support the education, health, opportunity and development of children and young people. And then what we do, so our programmes are designed so that young people can get the most out of their education and encourage them to achieve their goals and aspirations. We are strengths-based and trauma-informed, and we work with young people from an asset-based place rather than a deficit, looking beyond the problems that young people face and towards their potential. So I'm just going to take you through a whistle-stop tour of our programmes, starting with the first one, which is Teens and Toddlers. So Teens and Toddlers is a 16-week programme whereby we take a group of up to 10 young people to a local...
It was me closing my butt thingy.
Oh, someone's got their...
Oh,
carry on.
Whereby we take a group of up to 10 young people to a local primary school where they get to mentor a smaller child in the nursery, and the smaller child might have some additional need as well. So they might have speech and language delays, difficulty making friends, just arrived in the country, that type of thing. Then our teen then becomes a positive role model for that young person. They work with them for an hour and a half each week. And they have an hour and a half what we call classroom time because they're working towards a level 1 qualification and interpersonal skills. During the classroom time, the programme, the sessions that they're doing is all around raising self-esteem, raising aspirations, and we track wellbeing in young people. So they all complete the Warwick Edinburgh Mental Wellbeing Scale 14-question survey pre and post intervention. Some of the stats from the Teens and Toddlers programme is that 81% improved their communication skills, 82% increased their self-confidence, and 73% improved their mental well-being. The next programme is Power to Thrive. So Power to Thrive is an adaptation of Teens and Toddlers. So all the elements are the same, where the teen mentors the toddler in the nursery in 3-hour block for 16 weeks. But all the sessions are focused around mental health and well-being. So we support young people to understand what mental health and well-being is and the language around that, knowing when they may need help and how to ask for it. We look at what's available to them in their networks, and we look at things like the importance of routines, social media, relationships, body image, all the things that can have a negative impact on well-being. And again, young people complete the Warwick Edinburgh. Power to Thrive as well was completely co-constructed with young people. So all the sessions within the programme were all the ideas of young people. So I think that's really important to give you that information. And some of the headline stats from that programme are 94% increased their self-esteem, 91% improved their communication skills, 86% improved their self-confidence, and 90% know where to get help and support. What I should have done, but I didn't do, I'll send a link in the chat to our impact report because that gives you some more in-depth stats and things like that, gives you a bigger overview. Power to Rediscover. So when the pandemic hit, and we had to suspend all our face-to-face programs. We put a survey out to parents, carers, teachers, practitioners, young people, and asking them about what they thought was going to be the impact of the pandemic. So from that, we developed Power to Rediscover. The Power to Rediscover is a one-to-one programme that just gives young people the space and time to talk about and to talk through the issues that they're facing with a trusted adult who isn't a parent or carer or a social worker or a teacher. It just gives them that space and time to explore that. The young people on this programme complete the Outcome Star, which is the shooting star, but we're moving away from that from September to do the My Mind Star because it just fits better with the programme. And that's like a validated progression scale whereby young people plot their areas for development at the start of the programme, and then we track that through the programme, and they can see their journey travelled when it comes to the end. They complete the Outcome Star at 3 different intervals throughout the programme as well. And again, young people on this programme will complete the Warwick Edinburgh. Just some stats from this programme was that 74% with improved their 74% with shy and withdrawn behaviour improved, 75% improved their engagement with school and learning, and 83% improved their mental well-being. Power to Progress. Power to Progress is our transitions programme. So it's to support those year sixes who we think are going to struggle with transition when they get to their new school. So they are mentored by a year 8 student from the school they're going to transition to. So we only have 1 intake of that year because we start working with young people in April, with the year 6s in April, work with them right the way through to September then. So we finish with them in July when they finish for the summer, and then we pick back up with them in September just to ensure that transition's gone well. And the year 8s on that programme, they get the level 1 in developing effective thinking skills. And then just some year 6 stats from that programme. 71% of year 6s reported feeling more ready for secondary school, and 71% improved their resilience as well. How to advance transitions. Now so the next 2 programmes we're going to talk about just really quickly are local authority commission programmes. So that's where the local authority said, we've got this problem, what can you do? And this is how we responded. So across Greater London, we're working with looked after young people aged 16 to 18 on their transitions. So year 11s, well, current year 10s will be year 11 in September. We'll start working with them to support them through GCSEs, then beyond. So they get one-to-one support off one of our mentors for 2 years. So that person stays with them all the way through. It's just that consistent support, and then they get access to group workshops, workplace activities, work experience, all that kind of thing. Oh, I don't know what I've done to my screen. I think I've changed the screen somehow. Oh, there you go. And then Power to Aspire is a programme for young people. It's only in the Lambeth area at the minute, but I'm telling you this because it is scalable and replicable in different areas. So Power to Aspire is for those young people who were in receipt of free school meals when they were at school and who are going on to FE and HE, so further in higher education, and they're supported by a mentor through that programme. So non-stop talking. Has anybody got any questions for me? I'm just going to see if I can put that back in the chat now. Chat. Oh my God. Right, can I stop sharing now, please, Heather, and hand it back to you because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Absolutely no problem. I've taken control of your presentation. Your contact details will just stay on the screen there.
Thank you.
There was a question in the chat, Sam. Can you see? It says, what age group is the Rediscover for?
Oh, that's from 7 to 18, so year 3. Is it year 3? Primary school? Upwards.
That would be about
Yeah.
year 3.
Yeah. So key stage 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Hi Sam, sorry I missed the start of the presentation. How do we access your interventions?
If my contact details there, if you drop me a line, we can have a chat on how we can best support.
Fab. I met one of Sam's colleagues at a conference supporting CAMS in the centre of Manchester, and I pinpointed her and I said, hi, I think your service, your interventions, your programmes that I've overheard running through schools would be great, a great support for our Manchester schools, and I want to kind of showcase the programs that are on offer so that you in school can see what you can access, what's out there, the best of the best, the programs that are tried and tested, that are coming from recommendations and great reviews. So please do get in touch with Sam if there's something there that sparked your interest. You've seen an intervention, you think, that's for those group of pupils that would really benefit from that in our school, or yes, I've got a child that would benefit from that, or yep, I can see how that could fit. So please do get in touch with Sam, and she can certainly signpost you to the correct avenue or the correct person to get in touch with in Manchester.
Yeah, and I have put the impact report into the chat, so do take a look. We are really proud of it.
Good. So you should be, Sam. Thank you so much for your presentation this afternoon. I'm going to swiftly move on to Jared, who I can see has appeared. His lovely face is there. Jared, can you take control at across the top of the Teams functions?
Right, you will have to bear with me because I'm not the best on oh, okay, I see the presentations up.
You can see it across the top.
Right.
There's an option that says take control. If you can click there, you'll be able to click through your slides.
There we go, right in front
There
of me.
you go.
Hello guys, lovely to meet you all. My name's Jared. I'm the founder and managing director of Fifth Movement. Sam, thank you for your presentation. It was lovely. Please, you've set the bar high, and my slides may not match, but I'm going to run you guys through what Fifth Movement does and the work we do across Greater Manchester. So our aim is to raise awareness and level the playing field for children of all backgrounds. Now, this is through inclusive opportunities and access to these inclusive opportunities. So what do we provide at Fifth Movement? There we go. We've got lunchtime and after school clubs. So we have different physical fitness activities such as yoga, Zumba, Taekwondo, circuit training, boxercise, gymnastics. We've tried to build out an inclusive offer so that we can target every child and every student, those who may not be interested in competitive sports or who may not be the most physically active. We've tried to create an offer which can engage them and get them involved in some form of physical activity. Now, it's quite apparent that physical activity has a great impact on mental well-being for adults and for children. So over the years, we've constructed an offer which has helped us engage every pupil in physical activity. Then alongside that, we have our Wellbeing CPD for teachers. So we have a course that myself and our practitioners have developed, which is bringing wellbeing into the classroom through different techniques such as breathing games, grounding techniques, journaling. I could probably use the breathing games right now because my nerves are shot presenting at the moment, but it's different techniques that teachers can bring into their classroom to help pupils support their well-being, but also help them deal with things like anxiety, stress, and outside influences. So we've got things such as the finger breathing method, which is we tell pupils to hold out their hand, breathe in on the way up, breathe out on the way down, in and out. We also have the box breathing, which is for 4 seconds. You breathe across, you hold for 4, breathe for 4. But these are different techniques that teachers can introduce into their classroom, which can help pupils and students when they're feeling stressed, if they're presenting, if they've got an exam, or just in their day-to-day life. There's also other techniques that we go through on the course, such as journaling, grounding techniques, mindfulness games and practices that can be brought into the classroom. Our wellbeing workshops, which we run within schools, are all data-driven, and that's why I got my team member to put data-driven really big in the corner so I couldn't miss it. So our wellbeing workshops, we have our practitioners at Fifth Movement that come into school and they deliver workshops across the school day. So your pupils could have 15 minutes or 30 minutes out of the classroom on a one-to-one or a small group basis, where our practitioner runs them through different techniques to support their wellbeing. They may do some yoga poses It could be breathing techniques and different mindfulness games, but anything to support their well-being on a day-to-day. Basically teaching children and pupils that it's important to take 5 minutes out of your day to check in on yourself and see how you're feeling. Now, we work really, really closely with schools to ensure that we have a lot of data and that what we're doing with these pupils are working. A lot of the pupils and the students we work with are either facing permanent exclusions, they're SEMH, SEND, so we try to keep a lot of data and track a lot of data, the work that we're doing within the schools, to make sure we are having a positive impact. And by doing so, we have different questionnaires which our coaches fill out and our practitioners fill out during the sessions. We also have questionnaires which the class teachers receive, which may say, were your pupils calmer or better behaved? Has attendance increased since returning from our lessons? Now, we found the sweet spot with these workshops to be 15 to 30 minutes, and we run these across Greater Manchester in schools 3 to 4 times a week. And as I said, it's with select groups that the school may see need extra care and attention, or they've as I said, facing permanent exclusion. So we're using the wellbeing techniques to avoid any exclusions happening. Alongside this, we have our nutrition workshops, which work quite similarly to the wellbeing workshops. Now, again, like I said at the start, physical health has a really positive impact on your mental health, as does nutrition. And sometimes the answers are so simple, but it just gets misconstrued. So eating healthy and moving your body makes you feel better, and that's why we try to promote positive eating within schools. We have different nutrition workshops led by our nutritionists that take pupils and students through healthy eating techniques, what a healthy dinner plate may look like. We also do this with parents, and we get funded by local authorities to work with parents to teach them different meals and meal ideas they can use with their students and with their children, not their students, to support them in eating healthier. Alongside this, we have our PE curriculum support holiday activities that are funded by local authorities, wraparound care, and different bits that we can bring into schools, obviously to support the well-being and physical needs of the students. And yes, I think I have duplicated some slides. As I said, I'm not the best at PowerPoint, so do bear with me. But yeah, that's it. I've not put my details on the final slide either, which is again not the best. So but I will pop that into the chat. If you guys have any further questions, do feel free to contact me. We do have a lot of data that, let me just pop my details in there, a lot of data from the wellbeing workshops and different activities that we run within schools, which I'd be more than happy to share with you to show the positive impact we're having on children and young people's mental health and wellbeing. I am going to pop my email in the chat there.
Thanks, Jared.
Not to worry.
Which areas of GM are you working in at the moment?
So we cover all of Greater Manchester. We've got Oldham, Rochdale, Stockport, Salford, Trafford. We do parts of the other parts of the northwest, such as Warrington, and we've also ventured out into West Midlands. But Greater Manchester is our home and where our main operations run out of.
Great. Are you working in any specific central Manchester schools at the moment, or is this your first foot into to open doors?
Central Manchester. We've got a few schools in Whalley Range and a couple schools out in Hume. But yeah, so it's a good introduction to get us out into the area, really, because it's a part of Greater Manchester that we do want to expand into.
Great, that's wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm sure a lot of schools with us today. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to interrupt those. That Michelle in the chat, is it secondary schools or primary or both?
Yes, so primary, secondary schools, we work with both. We work through from 3 to 18.
Fab. So that's coming into schools, doing PE lessons, interventions, alongside staff CPD and wellbeing checks. Is that right?
Yes, correct. We've got our practitioners that come into school as well. So we do, for lack of better words, have practitioners that work throughout your school and create wellbeing hubs within your school too.
Fab. I love the variety that Fifth Movement offers. I love the inclusivity of it. It's not your typical football club or running club. I think the breadth and the variety of active sports that children can get involved with, I think it's great. I think it does provide opportunities for all, which is great news.
We've got a few more questions in the chat. In terms of costing and stuff, I don't know if you want to have a discussion with delegates privately with that, if you wanted to get in touch with Jared, or are you happy to share costing information now?
Yeah, so again, with costing, I don't want it to be a thing where it's aloof and you've got to contact to reach out for it, but it is very niche and specific to what the school needs a lot of the time. So again, we do work with schools work quite closely with your budgets to ensure everything can fit within, because we do appreciate and understand how tight budgets are nowadays. So if you do want to contact me, and this can be anyone, even if it's just an inquiry, I'll be more than happy to, and you've got a rough overview of what you would be needing, for instance, 3 days a week and 4 hours within those 3 days, I'd be more than happy to send you a cost for that. And then I just see there's a question below that. Do you work with SEMH schools? We do work with SEMH schools. So again, our wellbeing workshops have had some really, really positive impacts on behaviour, attendance, and supporting the social, emotional and mental health needs of pupils and students.
Amazing. That's really, really incredible to hear. And I just kind of want to kind of say, with the field that Jared's working in, that sort of Venn diagram, that cross between mental health and physical activity, it's and nutrition as well. It's up there on our agenda as well. The Healthy Schools program for next year is going to incorporate a lot more crossover for physical activity and mental health, and how, as Jared was saying, physical activity is a key aspect of improving mental health and well-being. And I think sometimes that aspect can get overlooked in our provision. We do a lot of good work in provision with interventions and small group work, and making sure we're making the right referrals to CAMS, school nurses, etc. However, physical activity is a great sort of base kind of to build mental health and well-being upon. So it's something that we're going to be kind of working quite heavily on for the next year as well. So I definitely get in contact with Jared and see if he can put you in the right direction for that. So thanks so much for that, Jared. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me, guys, and I look forward to hearing to everyone else speak today.
No
Thanks, Jared.
Any other questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat as we go along. I think Jared is going to stay along for most of the ride for as long as he can. So please feel free to pop them in the chat as and when you want.
Thanks, Jared. We are running right ahead of schedule this afternoon. So my plan, thinking out loud, is we're going to hear from Lisa next. And then I think we'll take a break, have a stand up, get ourselves refreshed, and come back to hear from Layla towards the end of the afternoon. Hope that's all right with everybody. Lisa, feel free to take control and go right ahead.
Hi everyone, nice to be here, and Jared, it was lovely to hear your presentation and the lady before you. So my name is Lisa Swiatek, and I run a company called Grow with Solis, a wellbeing training and coaching consultancy. So I'm going to start off with some questions for you to ponder just before we get into the presentation. So you can either use the controls on the Teams to either pop your hand up, give me a reaction, or just nod quietly to yourself if any of these resonate with you and would resonate with your colleagues at work. So number one is you have a high workload that's overwhelming, stressful and exhausting. Anyone resonate with that? You have a lack of resources, whether that's technology, materials, or funding, which impacts your ability to deliver high quality education. So yeah, seeing a few hands popping up there, thank you. Maintaining discipline and managing diverse classrooms is demanding and impacts your emotional and mental well-being. Couple more hands there. Being responsible for the emotion and well-being of pupils can be a challenge. Engaging with parents and caregivers can sometimes be stressful. Keeping up with educational advancements and curriculum changes is a lot of pressure. And lack of support and recognition and relationships with colleagues can impact your job satisfaction and well-being. Okay, so lots of hands popping up for that last one. So they are all questions based on the typical challenges that teachers and education staff face that can impact on your mental health and well-being. And the training that I offer is for teaching staff, so it's not for children, which I know the last two presenters were aimed at children, but my training courses and coaching is there to support you as education staff. So ways that we can overcome some of those issues that I mentioned before are having supportive policies and practices in place, training, resources, professional development, communication, feedback, support systems, and a culture which can all contribute to creating a positive work environment that helps to support your well-being. And as we know, teacher well-being has a direct impact on pupil outcomes, and that's why my training is focused on you as education staff. So I've prepared some slides just to go through the training courses that I offer. There are quite a lot, so what I'm going to do is just focus on the ones that I think will be relevant to you as mental health leads. But if anyone does want to chat about some of the other courses that I offer, I'll make sure that you've got my contact details so you can get in touch. So just a bit about me. My background is in learning and development and human resources, where I spent the last 18 years, and I've worked with education clients, so that's early years, primary, secondary and higher education, as well as local authorities, the NHS, regulatory bodies and lots of small and medium-sized businesses of all different kinds and sectors. And I set up my company Grow with Solis in 2021 to bring together my professional experience, my qualifications and lived experience. I've got a special interest in mental health and well-being, and that's because of personal experience of burnout and postnatal depression, and also seeing the need through my work that people need more support in these areas. So the work that I do and the training courses that I offer ensure people enjoy better work lives and well-being. It fosters positive, productive and inclusive work environments, improves employee engagement, helps you develop and retain key talent, and improves outcomes for your school and the children you work with and the communities that you serve. And as I said before, research shows that staff wellbeing and pupil outcomes are intrinsically linked. Okay, I'll just move my slide along 1 second. In fact, I've already introduced myself. I'm ahead of myself there. Okay. So I offer workshops, training programs, one-to-one and group coaching and bespoke and consultancy, which I will talk about shortly. And the workshops and training programs I provide create space for people to take a pause from their busy lives, to learn, reflect and take action for positive change to take place. And whilst the services I offer are aimed at staff working with children, most of what I teach can be adapted to be used with children in the classroom. So any courses that I provide, I will be teaching you how you can use them in the skills and the techniques you learn to support kids in the classroom. And there's different recommendations I've got depending on the ages of the children that you teach. All the courses that I offer can be delivered virtually. I would always recommend face-to-face where possible, and some topics work better in person, but just to let you know that they can be delivered virtually too. So the different topics that I teach and coach on are related to well-being, people and relationship skills, which are sometimes called soft skills, career development and leadership, and all of these things are interrelated and affect each other. So if you are struggling with people and relationship skills, it has an impact on your well-being. If you're not feeling fulfilled and motivated in your career, if you've not got the support that you need from leadership, it all has an impact on your mental health and well-being. So the training courses that I'm going to go through with you today are all related to wellbeing. But as I said, if anyone's interested in some of the other topic areas, I can send you the details for those. So this is a list of off-the-shelf courses that I provide. All courses are refreshed regularly to make sure they're up to date and include the latest information, research and evidence where that's applicable. And they all include feedback and evaluation that I can share back with you or whoever needs to see that in the school. And that helps me ensure my courses are high quality, fit for purpose, make sure that you're getting value for money from them and that it's having the impact that you want it to. So the first course is a relaxation session. So these offer staff the chance to take a pause, completely switch off and relax, because sometimes we don't need to learn new information, we just need time to rest and recharge. So with all of these courses, there's a bit of a synopsis on the left-hand side of the slide, and then it goes through what's included. So I'm not going to read through each bullet point line by line. You can see what's on there. In these relaxation sessions too, they include breathwork, guided meditation, and I can tailor those to suit your audience. Essential oil blending workshop is the next one. So that's a fun and creative session to learn about essential oils and how we can use them to support mental health and well-being. They can also be used in the classroom as well with children, and essential oils are particularly good with children with special educational needs because it gives a nice sensory experience. Seasonal Wellbeing Workshop is the next one. So we are affected by the seasons more than we realise. So this session introduces people to the concept of seasonal living and different wellbeing practices we can do specific to different points in the year that will all enhance wellbeing, energy and productivity. And that one's a really nice workshop to have in autumn and winter when people start to potentially feel affected by the change in seasons and the cold and dark and things. The next one's a general staff wellbeing session. This is one that I deliver quite a lot, and it's perfect for after school twilight sessions if you go for the 2-hour option. So as well as being informative and educational through theory, it gives delegates a chance to experience a pause from their busy lives and practice some relaxation techniques. So there are a few different relaxation techniques that you'll be able to choose from, and we'll do 2 or 3 in the session, depending on what your audience might find most useful. So things like breath work, there's lots of different mindfulness practices, meditation, and different things in there, and there's a 2 or 3 hour option just depending on how much time you've got. The next one is supporting pupil wellbeing. So that is for you to learn ways and understand how to support pupils with the wellbeing and integrate mindful awareness into the classroom. So there's lots of really useful exercises that you'll learn to take back to the classroom, all tailored to children. And some of them will be for any child, so typical children, and also for children with special educational needs. There are a few techniques in there that are really effective for those children. This one, the supporting pupil wellbeing and the staff wellbeing session tend to be the most popular courses. Building resilience, again, is another one that tends to be popular. So resilience is constantly put to the test, and it often affects our well-being. So some of the questions that I posed to you at the beginning and asked whether you resonate with those things all affect our resilience. So this workshop will help you to understand resilience, understand how you can develop and build resilience, and then give you some tips and techniques to help you understand yourself and others and support others in building their resilience. Stress, burnout and finding balance helps people to understand stress, burnout, explore their own personal experiences, their own personal sources of stress and what impact it has on them, and develop a range of coping methods and strategies that can support you personally and others as well. And then we'll look at how you can find more balance. And then the other training courses that I've got, which I'm not going to talk through in detail now, but I'll just quickly flash up on screen so you've got an idea of what's there. So there's effective feedback, there's courageous conversations, confidence and assertiveness, compassionate leadership, and self-awareness and emotional intelligence. And then the bespoke training courses that I offer are, as they said, bespoke. So they can cover a number of different topics, and I'll work with you to create a bespoke learning intervention to suit your needs. That can include a learning needs analysis if you need to figure out what it is that people need to learn, development and design of learning and delivery and evaluation. And there's a couple of bullets on there just to show you what kinds of things you might have bespoke learning for. One-to-one coaching is another aspect of what I offer. So I am a qualified, accredited and experienced coach, and coaching is all about helping people get to the source of what's challenging them. And it's a really powerful tool for personal and professional learning and growth that's specifically tailored to the individual. So training and workshops are brilliant, but they are more general. One-to-one coaching really can be tailored and specific, and it provides guidance, support and accountability to empower people to overcome challenges, maximise their strengths and unlock potential. I work with leaders and staff on a range of different subjects and challenges. So they could be things like wellbeing, career development, leadership, holding boundaries, building self-esteem and confidence, supporting staff with mental health issues, and how to increase their personal impact, amongst other things. It really depends on what the person wants to get out of the coaching, either session or programme. As well as one-to-one coaching, there is group coaching, which can be a really powerful and effective method where a coach supports a group as they strive to improve certain behaviours, overcome challenges or reach desired outcomes. Group coaching can be a really cost-effective way of bringing in a coach for that dedicated support. It's also really good for networking and connection and building relationships, and it helps people feel like it's not just them facing issues alone, so it can be very, very empowering for people. I've just popped up a, whoops, I don't know, has that stopped sharing?
It has. Zayn is
Yes,
Zayn
it
there.
has,
Can Zayn
yeah,
bring it
I'm
back?
still here. I'm going to try and get that sorted. Bear me one moment.
No worries, thanks, Zane.
Just give me one moment, guys. Apologies about this.
Gives me a chance to catch my breath.
In the meantime, if there's any questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to pop them in the chat whilst you give me a bit of time to reload the presentation.
I've only got a couple more slides, so I can probably just speak through these whilst you're figuring out the technology,
Yeah, go
Zane.
ahead. Yeah, I'm nearly there.
So it was just the last slide, just some previous clients that I've worked with. So there's Brownlow Fold Primary School, Bolton Council, New City College in London, Devonshire Road Primary School. I've had a couple of international schools based in China and Dubai, King's College London, Ladywood Outreach, which is a specialist SEND provision, the General Medical Council and the Apprentice Academy, just to show that I have worked with organisations quite similar to yours. And then the last slide was just to invite questions and ask if anybody would like any further information. I can see a couple of comments in the chat box, so I'll just see if I can read those. So can the resilience workshop be tailored to children? Yes, it can. It's predominantly aimed at teaching staff, but I can tailor that to children. Thank you, Luke. I've just popped my contact details there as well. And if anybody does want me to get in touch with them, if you pop your email address in the chat box, I will. I'll take a note of those and I can get in contact with you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Lisa. As I was just listening to you, then I thought, oh, there was a couple of your coaching sessions, a couple of your trainings. I thought, wouldn't that be great to like start the new year, the September inset day, get everybody on a great foot, and really prioritise staff well-being and set the year off as you mean to go on. I thought that would be lovely. And even if that's not, if your inset days are already booked for September. I know a lot of schools I've been talking to have thought about how they can promote staff wellbeing. Like once a term, they've said their staff training night will be about wellbeing. So booking Lisa in to come and do what maybe just one of those from the 3 terms next year would be just a lovely way to prioritise staff wellbeing and make sure that's high on everybody's agenda, because we know it filters down through school. Staff wellbeing should be at the top priority, and you'll see it come through through your classrooms, through your productivity, through your outcomes, through impact, through the children. It really does filter through, and we all know that, don't we? And I know from a lot of schools I've worked with this year that they have placed staff wellbeing at the top of their priority list and seen the impact of that. So thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing what you can offer. Any more questions for Lisa to pop in the chat? If you think of something while we take a quick 10-minute break now, just leave it in there. I believe Lisa's going to stay with us to listen to Layla, who's going to finish off our afternoon. But as I mentioned before, anything that comes to mind, please just drop an email to us after or to the specific guest speaker this afternoon, and they would absolutely answer any questions that you've got. We are going to look after our wellbeing for 10 minutes now, and we have got time to do that, so isn't that great? Hope nobody's melted in a cupboard somewhere if they've been propped up with a laptop in the only free space in school. Yes, of course. The email contact will be in the presentation, which is going to be emailed out by the end of the week. So you'll have all this information. I know Lisa skipped through a couple of those slides, not to overwhelm everybody with all the information. So you will have the slides to go through at your own pace and reflect on, and certainly take back to other SLT members and share within your school. So yeah, looking after our own wellbeing and our own hydration needs in this heat. Please do take 10 minutes now. I know Layla's already with us this afternoon, so hopefully she'll be ready to speak a little bit earlier than scheduled at 2 o'clock. So yeah, take 10, refresh yourself, stand in the sun if you can sneak away somewhere, get yourself a drink, nip to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, but please come back for 2 o'clock and I will introduce Layla to you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. See you at 2.
Hi everybody, welcome back to this afternoon. I hope you've all managed to refresh your drinks and give yourself a minute. I can see Layla's got control of the presentation. Lovely to have you back with us, Layla. I know you've presented at one of our senior mental health lead networks before, so it's lovely to see you. I hope you're doing okay, and feel free to go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you for having me again. It's lovely to see you both. So I'm just going to be going through, sorry if anybody was here last time and it's the same information again, but I will be doing a little bit of the website overview, so that might be a little bit different. So for anybody who hasn't heard of us before, I'm from Kooth and Qwell. So Kooth started in 2001 as just a very simple email service and has expanded massively since then. Next slide. So we at our basic are a free, safe and online anonymous counselling and emotional wellbeing support service. So I think the anonymity side of things is absolutely fantastic to have. It removes a lot of barriers for both adults and children. In terms of as a service across Greater Manchester, we are commissioned by the local NHS and the Greater Manchester Integrated Care Partnership. So that allows us to offer everything across the website for free. For me to do speeches like this, to do training across staff or workplaces, or coming into schools and doing workshops, which is obviously a great little addition to have. And also all of our counsellors are trained and qualified by the BACP, so that is the British Association of Counsellors and Psychotherapists, and as a digital platform as well, we are the only BACP accredited, so hard to get that out, BACP accredited platform. So obviously it just goes to show everything's regulated and all our counsellors are fully trained to be doing what they do. So we are available pretty much up and down the country now. We did just hit 1 million registrations on Kooth about a month ago, so that just goes to show the sheer amount of people using the site. Across Greater Manchester, Kooth is available for ages 10 to 25, and then adults on Qwell is 26 plus. However, with the way it's commissioned, people can use Qwell from the age of 18. That's just because maybe if they've used Kooth throughout kind of like the end of primary school and then throughout high school, and when they hit 18, you know, they're going on that big transition to university or into the world of work, and they might want that more adult facing platforms that gives them the autonomy to choose between whichever one would suit them best. So just some handy points to cover about both sites and kind of things to remember for maybe yourselves if you want to access it, or if you're referring other people onto the sites. So they're completely free, as I mentioned before. We're very passionate mental health support should be available to absolutely everyone, no matter how much money you have. So all the counselling, all the self-help, all the community support, absolutely everything across the site is free. All our service users are anonymous. Obviously, as I mentioned before, that's a fantastic little detail to have. I get a lot of children kind of saying, you know, I don't really know who to turn to, or I'm scared if I tell this friend, they might tell this person. Likewise with adults, they might have that fear of, you know, having to admit to their employer that they're struggling. Because if you're to go through your EAP, normally you have to identify yourself. So by having both the sites completely anonymous, nobody knows who you are. So when you do come to the sites and you do open up, you have got that element of being allowing yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable, because nobody knows who you are. And I'll explain a little bit across our community support features how that is really helpful in a short while. So no formal referral is required, and you can self-refer online at any time. So if anybody's more familiar with the traditional mental health routes, such as the GP, obviously you have to go, you'll get referred once you've hit a certain criteria, and then once you've hit that criteria, you get popped on your counselling waiting list, which around about at this time is a year, which is obviously a horrifically long time if you do need that support. Whereas a Kooth and Qwell, you can come to us, set up an account, takes around about 3 to 5 minutes, and you can be getting that counselling support on the exact same day as well. My words are coming out weird. So no bullying can take place across our site. So with social media, I'm sure everyone's very familiar with how it all works, but that is all post moderated. So if you saw something offensive, you have to report it to get it taken down. Whereas across Kooth and Qwell, we work a little bit differently. So we pre-moderate all our content. So anything on the articles or the forums, any comments, absolutely anything before it goes on the website gets checked over. And that just ensures that we keep a really safe, secure, supportive site. Whereby something is deemed to be offensive or harmful, or even someone might have posted a disclosure because they think someone will be able to relate to it, we will prevent it from being posted, but we will always message that user to explain why we couldn't post it. And if it was a disclosure, we check in with them to see what the support we could offer them in terms of the thing they might have opened up about. So there are no barriers or thresholds. Another fantastic point to the site. So as I mentioned before, if you were to go through your GP, you usually have to sort of fill out a questionnaire and then hit a certain criteria before you get referred. With Kooth and Qwell, there's no such thing. So you can come to us, as it says on this slide, simply because you've had a bad day. It could just be a one-off. You're normally really good with how to cope. Like Jared mentioned before, you've got your different breathing techniques, and normally you can be really kind of well equipped to deal with it. But some days everything just feels a little bit too much, and you need that little bit of space to just vent safely. Or it could be something as it says on the screen. So last year, 40% of people that came to us were dealing with stress and anxiety. Exam or coursework pressures at the moment, obviously very prevalent, and I know a lot of schools are kind of in the process of getting some results, so that can be as stressful for the students as it is for the teachers and for the parents. Obviously, we see a lot of things with social media. Big changes is obviously quite prevalent at this time of the year, with people going to high school or transitioning into uni or sixth form. So there's so many different things that we deal with. And I did have a GP the other day ask if we do more higher level stuff such as depression. We do. It's just not been popped on that list. So we have, as I mentioned before, Kooth started in 2001 and has been commissioned ever since. And then Qwell came to Manchester last April, so it's been around since then. So we have a 95% recommendation rate, which is obviously fantastic, especially from Kooth, because we really pride ourselves on getting those feedback of people to how we can improve the site or what they enjoy. And obviously, with it being a completely online and text-based service, we like to reassure people that we are real people and we're not bots. I know with kind of the rise of ChatGPT, a few people might worry because obviously that's scarily sophisticated, but we have got real counsellors on the site. We're not robots. I don't think we're that advanced just yet. That's just a slide that our marketing team always put in. They just like to show off a little bit, so we'll skim past that one. So I know obviously with the original presentation, this is just included from that one. So with it being with that week particular being Mental Health Awareness Week, this is just an example of some of the stuff we popped on across the week for everyone. So we have live forums that happen on every Monday, Wednesday and Friday anyway, but with it when it was Mental Health Awareness Week, obviously with it being a focus around anxiety, they did a forum every single night, and obviously you can see that all the different topics they did them on, and all of the topics have been saved across the website as well, so people can still go back and access all the information that was shared in all of those. So just for example, the Monday was what is anxiety, because I know I've kind of learned a lot recently. A lot of students kind of get it mixed up between general anxiety disorder, so as the kind of diagnosed disorder, and anxiety is just that feeling of unease. So it's quite nice to kind of break that down a little bit and explain to people a little bit more about what it actually is. The Sunday was supporting children, so that was over on Qwell, so that was for the adult side of things, so that's teachers and parents, because I know as much as we all want to be there for the people around us, sometimes we don't know how to have the conversations, and we find it slightly awkward on how to have them, so those forums are great for those kind of things. And there is still a whole campaign on our website, so I will get a link sent out afterwards with all the information that's still available for everyone to access. And you can print these things off, so if you're in schools or in workplaces, they can be printed off and put in staff rooms, back to toilet doors, whatever you have available to you. So just really quickly, just to go through how to sign up for the site, just to show how simple and easy it is. So you can just head over to either kooth.com or qwell.io. I'll pop those in the chat as well. On any internet-enabled device, so phones, tablet, laptop, whatever you have available to you. We're not an app, so you won't find us on any app stores, which I know can seem a little bit backwards, but that's just because with it being anonymous, it adds that extra level of privacy, so no one can see it as an app on your phone. And if you're downloading an app through the App Store, obviously you have to have an account, and that's identifiable information, which goes against the whole anonymity side of things. So for signing up with Qwell, when you press the join up button, it will either ask you for the location you live in or the organisation you're a part of, because some workplaces have purchased it as part of their EAP if it's not funded in their area. However, for Manchester it is. So anybody 26 plus on this call right now can literally just jump on, pop in Manchester, and there is a prefer not to say option as well if you would prefer not to disclose that. So same again with Kooth, it's either the first part of your postcode or the location from a drop-down list. So not the full postcode, just the very, very start bit or the area. They only want that information just to make sure it's funded in your area, which of course across Greater Manchester it is. Across Kooth, obviously the Children and Young People Service, they will ask for the month and year the child was born in. That's just because the site is available from ages 10 to 25. So we just need to ensure that what a 10-year-old sees is different to what a 25-year-old sees, and that the people they're interacting with across the website are the same age as them, and the interactions we have are appropriate for their age. Gender, ethnicity, there's a variety of different options, and then there is a prefer not to say as well. And then obviously the most important part is the anonymous username and password. So with there being 1 million people on there now, you might have to get a little bit creative with usernames. But I normally say, if you can't think of something, maybe favourite football team, which might be a bit of a touchy subject. Football wins recently, or a favourite celebrity, favourite food, whatever you can think of. But as it's anonymous, we don't want any first names or last names, school logins, gamer tags, social media handles, anything of the such. And just to make sure you store the username and password somewhere safe, because as we don't collect email addresses or track IP addresses, we won't be able to get someone back into the site if they did forget it. So in terms of what is available on the site once you're on there, so we have a range of support options, and the service user has complete control of the support pathway they enter, because there is just so much on there. So in terms of the 3 main types of support, so the website is comprised of the professional, self-directed and the community support. So in terms of our professional support, that is with our counsellors, as I mentioned before. So that is available 365 days a year, Monday to Friday 12 till 10 p.m. and Saturday to Sunday 6 till 10 p.m. So simply you literally will just jump on the account, it'll say chat at the top. You press that, you jump in a queue, you'll be speaking to your counsellor. If you haven't got time to wait in that queue on that particular day and you wanted to set a chat up, or it's gone past 10 p.m, you can still send us a message and someone will get back to you on the next day. So within 24 hours, you will have a response. And the chat sessions are exactly however someone wants to work them. So like I said before, someone might be usually quite good at coping, and they just need that kind of safe space to vent in that moment in time. Absolutely fine. You can have those one-off intermittent chat sessions, or we also offer a short or longer term plan. So that might be, there's something the counsellor thinks, right, okay, we can do a bit of work here with this individual. Wednesday at 6 p.m. suits you. So at Wednesday at 6 p.m, you'll have this hour-long chat for 6 weeks, 6 months, 18 months. As long as that person needs that support, it is available to them. And then up to your first sort of 3 chat sessions will be what they call assessment based. So getting to know a little bit about the user, obviously not personally, because obviously it's anonymous. But I think in ways that we can support them. So, for example, if people don't like speaking to someone for support, that's absolutely fine. We all work completely differently. On Kooth, we have our activity hub, which are great. So there's 30 different activities on there that they can do in person, online, with friends, with the family. I always say those are great in the holidays. So when kids are going on board, I've got nothing to do, they don't need to nag you. You can put them on there, and there's so many different things that they can spend hours and hours doing. And the journaling space is also a fantastic little space to have as well. So as you can see on the right hand side of the screen there, so you can simply just select an emoji and submit it, or you can write a little bit about it. That's great for maybe if a child is worried about leaving a paper trail of a diary at home, or they don't maybe feel like they have a safe space where they can store it, they can pop it all on there. And our team will intermittently check into those entries just to make sure there's nothing that flags that we're worried about and that we'd like to check in with them. So across both sites as well, we have our articles. So they're written by our users, but also our professional team, and they're from things all the way from mental health and well-being, obviously with the site being that kind of platform, but also really general things. So someone might have read an article and thought, I've got a better experience of that, or it could be something really random that's happened and they wanted to share it or create a piece of writing. So it's kind of a platform for people to use however they want. With Kooth having the activities, Qwell has something called collections instead. So they, yet again, are preset topics. So from things on exploring neurodiversity, at the moment they've set up a cost of living crisis one, and there's so many different things are there. So they're like little folders almost with loads of articles and loads of self-help stuff. And then obviously the reminder at the bottom about the counselling service for anybody who wants to use that. And probably my favourite part of the site is the forum. So they are available across Kooth and Qwell. There are hundreds of thousands of ones that exist. So you can set up your own one or you can get involved. Yet again, they're all the way from mental health and well-being to just really kind of colloquial ones. So the stuff when the Avatar film came out, children were saying, is it worth going to watch? kind of what's the latest Netflix series or the latest game, and it's all great because it's all anonymous, it's all really safe. So if you are, you know, recommending students onto the site or your own children, you know they're only going to have really supportive and friendly conversations. And it's really nice because sometimes if they don't want to ask their own friends, they can still get advice from people the same age as them. Because I get a lot of students going, nobody gets me, nobody understands what I'm going through, and then they go on the forums and they're like, I know someone has got a bit of a similar experience, and they can share those experiences and get advice from each other as well. I won't go through the case studies or anything, but they are just there if anybody would like to look at them when the slides get put out, because that is just in terms of ensuring joined up care. So say if a child is already going through CAMS or an adult's already going through a counselling service, it's not a one or the other. We can ensure joined up care, or if you are having face-to-face counselling, you can still get it with us as well. It's not you have to pick between both. Safeguarding as well, obviously with it being an anonymous service, we do have our senior practitioners that are trained to deal with all of that across the site, and if anybody does want any more information on that, feel free to email me and I'm more than happy to send it across. In terms of SEND, so obviously we recognise that many people using our service may have special educational needs, and in that instant we'll have to adapt the way we respond to ensure the most person-centred and collaborative response. So that might be the carer sets up the chat session and just explains the user their needs and kind of what we can do for them. So be it can you use a bit more simplistic language, or can you type shorter responses, can you allow a bit more time for them to type their response. We're also compatible with speech to text software. So there's a variety of different things that we can do to support people coming to the site. So just some feedback we've had in the past. So I feel safe to explore my feelings and I'm more able to manage low periods in my life. I've never felt pressured using Kooth. I'm in full control and Kooth feels like a family and I can't thank you enough. I think that I've never felt pressured one is always my favourite one, because there is just so much across the website. There's obviously hundreds of thousands of articles and forums. You've got your counselling, you've got all the self-help stuff. And I always say the best thing to do is set up that account and use it to your advantage. Use it however it suits you. That is your little toolkit there to use it as and when you want to. Across the adult site, Qwell, we've had being anonymous makes it less intimidating, and this helps me to be open and honest, and the understanding and validation I received during my chat sessions was so important to me. Connections with others is invaluable for me, and sometimes someone knowing how I feel is just enough to make a difference to my day, and I just love that one because I just think it's such a nice little thing. So obviously, as I've spoken about the site a lot, we have a variety of different options that I can help you out with as well. So we have a load of physical resources, those little pocket cards there. On the other side, they've got a QR code on, so they're fabulous to kind of just hand out. And if someone is quite discreet, so someone can just keep it in the back of the phone case, or students in a blazer pocket. We also do flyers and posters as well, so they're great on the backs of toilet doors in workplaces or schools, because it's really discreet. And when you're in that cubicle, it's you for 3 minutes or so, and that might be that only bit of time in a day at school where you get a moment to yourself, so you can scan that and that's private to you. Likewise with this training, obviously we do this across schools and across workplaces, so as much as it's, you know, for you to refer it out to people, make sure you utilize it yourself, because it's so cringy, but it's, you know, we have to be at our best to help other people, so making sure we look after ourselves, because it's so easy to run ourselves down and not know what we do for ourselves. And also we do a lot of parent and carer stuff as well, in case sort of parents have any questions around the workshops, because we have a variety of different workshops. Obviously, being Pride Month, we've had a lot of the LGBTQ+ ones. We have a male targeted one, a wellbeing one. We just do general introduction ones, a young carer, healthy relationships. There's a variety of different ones. So if anybody's kind of interested in those for schools or for workplaces, feel free to email me, and I'm more than happy to come into schools to do assemblies or to do the workshops. We do the workshops across little targeted groups or across classes. I've been at a girls' school near me recently. We did a full day, all different years, kind of identified the needs of that year and what we could do to best support them. For any questions, that's my email there. I'll pop it in the chat box as well, because I have the world's longest surname. But if anything, any inquiries, I'm more than happy to answer them, or even just set up a meeting to chat about the service a bit further, because it is just a fabulous little service to have. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to me, and thanks Heather and Zane again.
Thanks, Layla. Honestly, every time I hear it, I think I can't believe how great this service is. You missed off the best bit. It's free. Like, it's free for everybody, for young people, for adults, and the speed and the the safety of it, I think, so important. I know people are on their knees for CAMHS appointments, other service appointments across Manchester, and this is here at somebody's fingertips all the time. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think it's really important as schools, as senior mental health leads, as SLTs, that we're letting the students and pupils know across our schools that this is here for them and it's a safe place. The fact that it's monitored, I think it's wonderful, and the speed of access, as I already mentioned, is crucial to our young people who are requiring those skills and the resilience building and the speed of everything that's at their fingertips. This should be exactly the same. So I think it's really great. Thank you so much, Layla.
No worries, thank you.
I'm just going to finish us up today with just a few Healthy Schools pointers. So if you come across any questions or have any feedback from this afternoon, we are finishing rather early, so I'll speed up, and you can have extra time this afternoon, get your millions of things done off your to-do list. Just a few highlights for you from us. So these are our current in-house mental health trainings. They are hyperlinked, so when you get them through on the PowerPoint, they will take you directly to our website where you can book us to come in and deliver them as part of your staff training sessions or your inset days. They're all very well received. That sounds like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but our feedback tells us that they are very well received and informative. So have a look if any of those spark your interest for your school needs. I'm also going to showcase to you our Padlets. This is our mental health Padlet. If you haven't already accessed this, please do, using the hyperlink embedded there, and it's password protected. Please have a look through it. We have spent many hours and continue to spend many hours sifting through the vast variety of mental health support that there is out there at the moment, and we choose the best of the best. And it's almost like a little library, but it is categorized, so easy to find if you're needing support immediately for a child with bereavement issues or someone that's grieving in school. Head to our bereavement section, have a look if something there saves you trawling the internet and not finding the best of the best. So have a look through that in your own time. Similarly, our mental health Padlet for the parents and carers. So we are very aware that a lot of our schools have parents and carers wanting to be involved in this part of their child's life, their education around it, and how can you work as a supportive community using a whole school approach to support pupils and children in your care. So this one's dedicated to sending information out to parents and carers about different areas of mental health, different support areas. A lot of our schools do this through a newsletter, so they'll have like maybe a themed term and send out articles or support guides that we've highlighted. Rather than sending everything out, we wouldn't recommend sending out the Padlet to the parents. That could be quite overwhelming, but certainly guided through maybe half-termly or termly, just little drip bits of information, just showing that you prioritise the mental health and wellbeing of them as well as their children in your setting. And finally, as I mentioned just a few slides ago, our current mental health offer for in-house training for the end of the year. This is a survey, so a QR code on your screen. Please just put your camera up to it. It'll take you to a form, and the form will take you no longer than 2 minutes to complete. The form will guide you through what service you would like to see from us. So what is our mental health and wellbeing provision going to look like for next year? What do you want? What does your school need? Please scan that and let us know. Guide us. We will bow down to your needs and meet the needs of your schools from what you're telling us. So please take a moment to scan that, open it up in a tab, save it for later, whatever you need to do. I'll also send a link to the form in the email I'm going to send out with this presentation as well. So if you don't scan it now, don't panic. It will not be gone forever. But please do take the time to do that. It's really important to us so that we can help you further. And I'm going to finish the afternoon by just saying thank you. In fact, I'll say thank you, but then I'll put the QR code back on the screen so you can access it if you need be. That's all from us, our last Mental Health Leads Network meeting of the year.
Thank you very much, everyone. Just before we do dismiss and let everybody go, just want to say big thank you to our speakers today. So thank you for the speakers for joining us this afternoon. And I also just want to say a big thank you to Heather. Heather is leaving Healthy Schools, and this is her last Mental Health Leads Network meeting. So she's the one who's been organising this all. So a big thank you to Heather for organising these events for you to participate in. The Mental Health Leads Networks will carry on with Heather's absence, unfortunately, but just big thank you to her support she's provided to us and throughout to you guys as well throughout the year. She's been a key cornerstone of the mental health provision in Healthy Schools. So big thanks to Heather as well. So thank you to everyone that coming. Thank you to Heather. Thank you for the delegates, and thank you to the speakers as well. Please scan and have a look at that review feedback as well. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Zane, and thanks for your comments, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and try and see the sunshine.